Hello, hello, hello. Good morning and welcome. My name is Lee Cara. Welcome to Unleash Your Light here at the Akashic Academy. It is Thursday morning, 10 a.m. on the East Coast of the United States. And whatever time it is where you're at, I hope you're having a beautiful week. It has been weird here. It's supposed to be springtime, but it's been freezing. I had frost on my car in the morning yesterday, and it was in the 70s in the afternoon. So it's been very odd here. Good morning, Christy. I'm going to take just a moment and make sure that I am cooking with fire here. I'm going to invite a few of my friends. I hope you'll invite a few of your friends. We're going to have a great show today. It has been a very strange week. I know there's some crazy stuff going on in the atmosphere. I've seen a lot of posts about solar flares and that sort of thing. I don't know a lot about that kind of stuff. That's kind of above my pay grade. I mostly stick to the stuff about emotions, but I've seen a lot of stuff about it. So you guys can do some research if you're having like migraines. I've had a lot of people that have had a lot of like chest stuff, a lot of congestion stuff, and it's not just pollen, it's more than the pollen because we've had such little actual spring activity during this springtime that a lot of people are saying that it's about this, like the solar flare stuff and the activity and all this kind of crazy stuff. Hi, Wendy, nice to see you in Chicago. I don't know if it's been springtime in Chicago. It sure hasn't been springtime here. I'm on the East Coast, south of DC by a couple of hours. It sure as heck has not felt like springtime here, that's for sure. We're going to talk about something today that seems very counterintuitive to say ignore your feelings. If you looked at the title of the thing, I'm going to put it up in just a second here. I have one more person to invite. I want to make sure if you have someone that lashes out a little bit, maybe overreacts in situations, maybe share this with them, possibly send it in a message so you're not putting them on blast. Don't like post it on their wall. Hi, Karen, good morning. You don't want to put your friends on blast in this sort of a situation, but it might be a good idea to share this show with people who have a tendency to react in a big way. This show is all about ignoring your feelings, which we're always talking about. Pay attention to your feelings, pay attention to your feelings. Oh yes, that's a beautiful thing. Hi, Susan, 100. Oh, you're definitely feeling spring. You're feeling summer already, Susan. Holy guacamole. That's awesome. Oh my goodness. All right, Susan's got summer already. This morning, it was 42. When I took my son to school. It's supposed to be in the 70s when I pick him up around 2-ish. We'll see what happens. Yesterday morning, like I said, I think it was 36, and there was frost on the top of my Jeep when I headed out in the morning. I don't know. It's the strangest springtime I've experienced so far here in Virginia. I've lived in Florida for 20-something years, so it would normally be close to 100 down there, to 85, 90, 95-ish, right around this time of year. So yeah, ignoring your feelings, that's something that you wouldn't think would be good advice because people tell you go with your gut, pay attention to what you're feeling. Yes, that's all good advice to a point. There's a trend in our society. There's a trend in what we see in pop culture, what we see when we look out into the world, right? Where people say, well, I'm real, I'm authentic. I say it like I mean it. If we just look at our president here in the States, and those of you around the world can see our president, and this is not picking a side, but one of the big reasons that people elected him was because they were like, he says it like he means it. He is real. He just blurts things out before he thinks because he's speaking his truth. Now, as we know in real life, oh, yeah, I agree with you, Susan. If it's that hot there in April and mid-April, I don't know what your summer's going to look like. I was hoping to make it out there to Sedona this year. I don't know that I'm going to choose to do that this summer. Hi, Patty. Welcome. Hi, Laura. So we're looking at this entire trend towards realness here in the States, especially, I don't know how it goes in the rest of the world, but you could turn on almost any show and they're like, well, I'm just speaking my truth and I'm just saying it how it is. And I'm just talking realness, right? And with the snap of the fingers and the shake of the head, right? And there are even people who will use that sort of attitude and that sort of speech to excuse rudeness, to excuse saying things that are less than kind. Hi, Jeannie. To excuse things that would not be allowed or that should not be allowed, that would not be taken as something that should be said to someone. So they use it to excuse being a rude person, being unkind, saying things that are, really not productive. I'll be nice. If I was sitting on my couch, I do another half hour from my couch after this, I would use different terminology. But here on the Akashic Academy page, I will be on my best behavior. So we have this whole trend towards being real. Oftentimes, my advice about ignoring your feelings is because oftentimes that realness, that place of speaking out immediately what comes to your mind is not actually coming from what's on your mind. It comes from the pain and trauma that has been created from the human life that you have lived. And we often regret those things that come. Beth, I'm so glad that you asked. This is my name right there. If you search me on Facebook, you can just jump on my show right there. And I also share it in Sology, and you can join after the show as well. All right. So, and I think I'm the only Lee Cara on Facebook, so it should be very easy to find me. So people will regret these things that they say in these moments of realness. Now, I admit it, I am a reality show junkie. I'm a reality show junkie because even if they set these situations up, I want you to talk to this person about your feelings. People lose it. Thanks, Beth. People lose their minds and people really lash out on these things. Exactly. They're not a true reflection of your divine self. They are the creation of your pain and suffering in your human experiences. And we will often regret those things that we say in the moment. How many times have you had an argument with someone that you love? And you say something, and the moment that it leaves your lips, you go, oh, I want to take that back. Give me those words back. Oh, my God. Because how many of us have a phrase ringing in our head that a loved one said to us forever, right? I still have a phrase that a person said to me ringing in my head from when I was like a child. Right? And there are those certain phrases that we will remember always, right? If you weren't my child, I wouldn't even like you. That's a phrase that rings in my head or has rung in my head for years and years and years. And it wasn't until I went through all of the work of my transformation and all of the work that I've been doing that I was able to release the pain that was attached to that, right? And that may have been one of those things that comes in that moment of reaction that was created from the pain and suffering of her own life, right? And we, especially those of us who are trying to change, who are in this moment of transforming, who understand unconditional love and empathy and forgiveness. Yes, we understand that words create energy, that words affect other people, that the vibration of the things that we say can create. Thank you, Andrea. Welcome. Can welcome or can create this energy that changes another person to their core. if they internalize those things. So we really want to learn how to pay attention to those things. The work that I did to stop replaying the message is exactly this: the unleash your light steps, that you are not alone, be kind to yourself and others, forgive yourself and others, release your past, ignoring your feelings, set your mind, and having faith. And really, at the end of that, I came to a place of learning to love myself unconditionally. And that has been the entire focus of my transformation. And I'm still in it, like with you guys. I'm in the trenches with you guys, which is like, I do a show twice a week. I'm on Sology for an hour on Tuesdays. And then I come here with you guys for half an hour. I do another half an hour on my personal page after this. And I talk about things in my personal life that I'm transforming in, that my guides lead me through, that the voices in my head lead me through. And I really get down and dirty in what's happening. And this whole ignore your feelings stuff that I'm talking about, this was one of the big things that they talked to me about. With me, I'm not a lasher outer, okay? I don't project it on other people. I was usually the target of this. So for me, I had to be ignoring that coming at me and understanding where that came from. And to understand where it comes from in other people, you have to understand where it comes from in yourself, right? So when people lash out, when we lash out and we have that moment of regret, we always recognize, oh my gosh, I didn't mean that. Of course I want them to be in my life. Of course I love them. Of course I want them here with me. Of course I don't want them to die. Of course I don't want that, whatever it was that you said. And yet in that moment, you wanted them to hurt like you hurt, right? You wanted them to suffer the way that you were suffering. But saying it didn't really make you feel better for very long. Lashing out only made you feel better for a second. It's almost like a fix of crack, a fix of sugar, like a fix of some sort of addiction, to get that out, to get that outwards. And it's the only relief that you feel when those feelings start to build up in that space, right? So what can we do? What do we do about that? Right. Oh, Beth, I'm so glad. I'm so glad that you're here. I always do a little thing before the show is that the message gets to the people who need it, and that the people who need it get to the message. That's my only goal when I do these shows. When from the very beginning, that's what I talk when I do my little clearing thing before I come on. So I'm so glad you're here, Beth. What do we do about this? It takes practice. And it's really a rewiring. And Emily talks about this a lot. Emily does these rewirings by doing like a meditation-y thing. And she says, just by being in this show, you're going to get rewired. I do a little more practical thing. Yes, just being in shows like this gives you the awakening, and she probably sends an extra spurt of healing. I don't know that listening to me gives you any extra spurt of healing. That's kind of like above my pay grade to even think that something like that comes from me. But I think that the healing is inside of you and the work that you're going to do. And what it takes is self-awareness. You have to really pay attention to what's going on and what you're about to say. And yes, practice makes perfect, Nancy. It's a muscle. It's a muscle to be self-aware. It's a muscle to pay attention to your thoughts. It's a muscle to practice unconditional love. And what happens, thanks, Alicia. What happens is just like a muscle has to break to fill in, right? When you work your muscle to exhaustion, it breaks and then new muscle grows within, right? And that's what happens in our heart, right? So it may hurt you in that moment to not Speak your mind at that person and make them understand what you want them to know, and point your finger at them and say what you want to say to them, right? You want to get your point across so badly, even if it means you have to say something mean for them to hear you. But is it really that important in the moment for them to feel your pain? And why is it so important for them to feel your pain when you're already feeling it? Why do you feel the need to inflict pain on someone else? And that's what we need to take a step back from. Because if you're in pain, we don't want to inflict pain on others. If we're in this transformation, we don't want to give our pain to someone else. We don't want to share that and splat it outwards. We want to share love, right? We want to share unconditional love. And even if someone is giving it to us hard and throwing anger at us, we don't want to throw anger back. We don't want to give them that same energy back. We want to be able to stand in love. We want to be able to stand in understanding, in compassion, in empathy, and understand where they're coming from. Even if we feel that we're in the right, okay? Because it really doesn't matter in that moment who is right and who is wrong. What matters in the moment is that you are both in pain. You are both in pain when you are in that conflict, when you are feeling that emotion, when you are having that exchange. You are both in pain. And how do you stop that pain? It's not by sending pain out at it. It's by sending love. It's by sending empathy. It's by extending compassion. Even if your compassion is silence in the moment, because you can't actually bring yourself to say something compassionate to that person because you're so upset with them or you're so angry at them. But what you can do is refrain from making that a circle of pain. You can refrain from reacting from your own pain and suffering to their pain and suffering. You can step back in the moment. I've told this story on my show before, and it's a story that I heard from Eckhart Tolle, and he was interviewing with Oprah. I'm so glad, Beth. He was interviewing with Oprah, and he was talking about a moment in his 20s where he had kind of an aha moment, as Oprah likes to call them, aha moments. And he had this almost like a revelation. And he was having an argument with someone that he loved dearly. And he was screaming obscenities and vile things at them and pointing his finger and screaming and practically jumping up and down. And all of a sudden, there was a part of him in the back of his head that was observing this and observing himself in this hissy fit. And he was like, who am I? Look at me abusing this person that I love. And wait a minute, if I'm watching myself do that, who am I? Who is the observer watching myself scream and yell at that person? And the observer, I'm not angry. So who's the angry one screaming and yelling at that person? And it was such an aha moment for him to recognize that that was almost like a creation of his pain and suffering, yelling and screaming and having a hissy fit, right? Now, he didn't say it exactly like that. That's like the message that came through to me when I watched him tell that story, because he speaks in a very like academic kind of way. And I'm a simple girl with a simple message. But when I saw that, it brought to mind like this chapter in my book, because I was like, oh my God, that's the message that they downloaded to me about ignoring your feelings. Because we get in this space where we're reacting from our pain, from our suffering, from our trauma. We're reacting from a place that is in revenge, retribution, lashing out. It comes to a point where you have to be able to step out of that and just allow the person who is in front of you to have their feelings and give them compassion. I want to look at something here. When is it enough? Alegna, let's put that up. I just ended my relationship with one of your sisters due to constant interference. Absolutely, Alegna. We can forgive someone for their behaviors, for what they do. You can be understanding. You can be there for them in many, many ways. But you can also come to a point where you say, I forgive you, but I choose not to engage with you anymore. Forgiving someone and having empathy for them doesn't mean that you have no boundaries. And it doesn't mean that you condone their behavior. And it doesn't mean that you have to have a current relationship with them. I did a whole show on this called Forgiving Others. If you scroll down on the Academy page about forgiving other people, there does come a point in a relationship where you have to step back, where you have to say, as you are in the place that you are, I can no longer engage with you, but I forgive you. I understand where you are. And you may not even be able to say that to them, because often that will enrage them even more, because they just don't understand. They're just not in a place where they get it. And sometimes the more you are understanding with them, the harder it makes it for them, the worse they feel, and so the worse they act. Because our understanding and forgiveness can make them feel worse, because what they want often is punishment. Because even though people will often act as if they are in the right, and they will get very righteous and indignant and angry, and they will lash out, they often know that they are in the wrong. They often know that what they are doing is beyond. And so they will lash out even harder. They will push you even harder. They will do even more, because they are waiting for their punishment from the outside world. And the more that we forgive them, the harder they push, because they are waiting for their punishment. So internally, they punish themselves by pushing harder, by lashing out more. And they don't even recognize their own self-sabotage. It's a very hard position to be on the other side of that, because we watch the people that we love self-destruct. We watch the people that we love self-destruct when we are on the other side of that. And yet the only thing that we can do is forgive them, extend love to them. And if we choose to step away, hello, Rena, if we choose to step away from that relationship, we have to know that the forgiveness that we extend still gets to them, because we are all connected, right? Because we are all connected in that ethereal connection, right? Through the collective. That beam goes up through us, it connects to the collective, and it connects to them as well. So we are connected to them. And when we forgive them, even if in the 3D, even if in the human, they don't feel that, the divine being that dwells within your sister, say Alegna, or whoever it is that we are forgiving, divine being that dwells within them does know and does get it and is trying from the inside to propel that person towards an understanding, because that person is on their own journey of discovery through their own emotions, on their own journey. It's a very difficult thing to watch the people that we love spiral out of control, make choices that we don't agree with. I just did a show about this on Tuesday, about our judgments towards others and our judgments towards ourselves. And yes, especially in a family situation, especially in a situation. This happens a lot with our grown children. I have 2 grown children in their 20s, and it's very hard to watch them make choices that I wouldn't choose. I have a husband that I'm separated from that is living his own life, that I'm watching make choices that I would not choose for him. I still care about him. I still love him. We're still family. We're still raising a son together. I wouldn't make those choices for him. Hello, Elizabeth. And it's difficult to watch. And sometimes you want to grab them and shake them and go, what is wrong with you? All you have to do is X, Y, Z. But we can't do that. That's part of ignoring your feelings. It is our instinct sometimes to grab people and shake them. It is what we want to do, to tell them off and to let them know what they're acting like. And yet, is that coming from unconditional love? Is that the most loving thing that we can do for them? It's not always the right thing to do. So how do we combat this? I literally have fun. See, I'm so used to talking for an hour, and now I'm pushing right up on my half-hour time. I got to talk to Emily about letting me have an hour, but now Rena's coming on right after me. Rena, are you coming on right after me today? Does it start today? Pop in there and tell me if it starts today, and I'll plug your show in just a minute, okay? Oh, what about when their actions, even if subconscious, direct your family of your the lives of your family in a negative way? That is a very good question. And unfortunately, that has to be something that they have to reap the repercussions of. And we have to be there to pick up the pieces. And it sucks. I'm in that situation. I'm in that situation with you, Beth. It sucks. But as we are connected, it's part of the journey that we're on together. And all we can hope is that our support, our empathy, our love towards them will help them at some point in the future to become more supportive. It will help them to become more aware of the choices that they make. And we have to hope and pray, if you're a prayer, that the universe opens their heart. God opens their heart. The light opens our heart. Whatever word you like to use for God. I always say God has 9,000 names. He doesn't care what one you use. She doesn't care what one you use. As long as you're seeking, you've already found it. So it doesn't matter what one you use. As long as we are asking for them to have their heart open, and we keep our heart open, that's all we can do. And be there to pick up the pieces when they crack on the floor for the people around us. But it is that person who is making those poor choices, it's their karma to pick up the pieces themselves. It's their sowing that they will reap when the relationships that they have with those family members start to fall apart. And yes, we will miss them. And yes, it is hard to separate and to distance yourself from that. But you cannot enable. You can support from afar. When I say support, I mean you can love and support someone's bad choices just by saying, even though you're making choices that I wouldn't make, I love you still. That doesn't mean that you condone what they're doing. I have a son who makes choices that I would say, you are making 100% a choice that I would not make, son, but I love you, and I will love you through whatever choice you make. That's supporting. That's loving unconditionally. That's what I mean when I say support. I don't mean you're making a right choice when they say, I'm going to step off this cliff now, okay, without a parachute. And then you say, good, I support you. That's not what I mean by support. When I say support, I say, I don't think that's a wise choice, son, but you have to make the choice that you have to make. And if that's what you're choosing to do, I love you anyways. I love you through that. And when you get to the bottom, I will still love you. When you fall on your face, I will still love you. That's what I call supporting someone. It doesn't mean that I agree with their choices. It just means that I love them through their bad choices. It is sad. And they do still feel judged. And they have a unconditional love doesn't mean you agree with their choices. It just means you love them no matter what choices they make. It's just like that friend. A real friend doesn't agree with you no matter what you say. A real friend, a true friend, will say to you, I think you're making a wrong choice, but I love you anyways. That's a real friend. That's someone who truly supports you, who says to you, I think you're making a poor choice, but I still love you. People who are out to get you personally, those are people that you still have to say, I forgive you for those choices. You may be misguided, and those might be people that you need to say, we're not going to have a relationship anymore, but I forgive you. All people have a divine being in them, and the choices that they are making that are not from unconditional love, that are not coming from a loving place, are coming from their pain. And that's what we need to understand. That's why ignoring your feelings and lashing back out at those who are acting out of pain is always a place where you're going to look back at it and go, maybe I didn't make the right choice, because we are the ones who are transforming. And unfortunately, we can never expect those around us to react the way we would. I talked about this on Tuesday. We can never expect those around us to react the way we would in a situation. And if we do, then we are setting ourselves up to be disappointed. Anytime we give ourselves an expectation that someone else is going to act from love, then we are going to be disappointed, because we're the only ones who can act and react the way that we would, because we're the only ones who've been through what we've been through. Now, of course, we would like people to react in a particular way. We would like people to do what we think is the right thing, but right and wrong tend to be subjective. Stealing bread is wrong, but stealing bread to feed your starving family, is that right or is that wrong? There are gray areas in a lot of things. And all of this is away from ignoring your feelings, and I'm over my time. See, I need an hour, you guys. We need to start petitioning Emily. Well, I'm going to go on. It is hard to watch people destroy themselves. Oh my God. My grown kids, it rips my heart apart to watch them. And it rips my heart apart to watch my other, just, it rips your heart apart. But sometimes you just have to. Yes. And we all send love to those people who are not yet there. We all hope and pray that their hearts open, All right. So this was Unleash Your Light. You can find me here on Thursdays at 10 a.m. right here on the Akashic Academy page. Now, this is the public page right here of the Akashic Academy. This is the public page, but there is a secret group. And if you don't know about it, you should. You can go to askyourrecords.com and get some more information about joining the secret group. It is $11.11 a month, or you can get the entire year for $100. It is so worth it. There's some amazing stuff in there, some extra juju inside. And let me tell you something, it is so amazing. Such a supportive group, so incredible. You think that the people who are on the outside of this group, we have some great broadcasters like Christy Warnick, who's right here in the show. Andrea Stepanowski was on there. Rena's going to be on at 11 Eastern time. She put all the little things up in there. Rena, write it again, and I'll put it up on the little thingy there. I'll bring you up. I'm sorry. If you go to askyourrecords.com, you can get more information about joining the Akashic Academy and get some special guided meditations, some channeled messages. Coach Nick does some stuff on the inside pages. You get a lot of support from the community. You can also join and get a newsletter. You get the magazine for free. Right now, they're doing a special. I posted it on my page. I'm sure it's on here also, that if you go on there and post a picture of yourself reading the magazine, I think you can win a free year. And I'm pretty sure that there's a thing once you join and you post yourself that you can get a reading with Emily, which is pretty darn cool. Oh, Rena's on at 12 Eastern time. Okay, Rena, it comes on at 12 Eastern time. And it is, put the name of the show up there, something with the Rainbow Bridge, okay? You can always find me at unleashyourlight.org. I have 2 books available there for free. You can get PDF copies of them just by downloading them. I don't make you put in your email address. I don't have an email list. There is a place you can put in an email address, but you don't have to get the books. I don't do anything with it yet. At some point in the future, I guess I will, but you don't have to do that. I also have music on there that I created. I'm a singer and a songwriter. Okay, the difference between the inside and the outside, Beth, is when you go on, this is the page, okay? And it has 5,000 members. When you go to the group only has a few members, and it is a group, and it says it's a secret, a closed group. That's how you'll be able to tell the difference between the inside and the outside. Okay, Beth? This is the name of Rena's show, the Rainbow Bridge, y'all. So join her later, in fact, in about an hour and a half. Tonight, Andrea Stepanowski is going to be on at 7 Eastern time. She does a show about chakras, and it is beautiful. You get all kinds of interesting knowledge about that. When you go to Ask Your Records, make sure that you let Emily know that I sent you. Yes, the secret group is a membership, and it is full on worth it, let me tell you. I never miss a Wednesday with Emily. She's on vacation right now. I hope you're having fun, Emily, but I did miss Wednesday with you. So I'm looking forward to next week. That's for sure. Yeah, so you can get my books for free at unleashyourlight.org. There's actually a little tab that says, get my books for free. And another book that says, get my books for free. And then you can get my music for free there also. I made a couple of videos, and I'm on SoundCloud, and you can actually download it for free from SoundCloud, put it right on your telephone. Some of it's like meditation type music. Some of it's me singing bluesy type music. Some of it's all kinds of different stuff. And like I said, you can find me at Unleash Your Light right here on Thursday mornings. Right now, I'm going over to my personal page. I'm going to sit on my couch, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about ignoring your feelings and about what happens, in that whole process of how to take a step back. How do we do that? How do we not jump into reaction mode? How do we not go to that place, right? It's funny. Every time that I do one of these shows, Facebook gives me the craziest looking screen grabs. And I just made that weird looking face like this. I'll bet you after the show that's going to be the screen grab that Facebook gives me. And I'm going to have this crazy screen grab like this. Oh my gosh. Can I put up a link to my personal page? You know what? I have no freaking clue. Let me see here now. I can do that after the show. I think I will try to do that right after the show before I broadcast. Okay, Elizabeth? And that way you guys can stick around for just a moment, and I'll put it in there, and you can come over and join me. I'll wait 5 minutes before I go on, okay? My show is called Unleash Your Light. It's the same show. Everything is called Unleash Your Light. right, I love you guys so much. Now I'm way past my time. I love you guys so much. And make sure you tune in for Rena. It's the first show of her brand new show. I love you guys. And I'll be back here on Thursday. I'll be in Sology on Tuesday morning. And you guys are awesome. Thank you so much. And I will see you in just a few moments. I'm going to put my personal page right up under here.